Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of review of a couple of the constructions that we did, and then I'll do a couple more. Okay, so the first one is the perpendicular bisector of a segment. So I'm just gonna draw a random segment here. Okay, I'm going to call it A, B. I want you to do the same. Okay, so what we have to do the perpendicular bisector is we have to place the compass at point A. Okay, make sure it's down in there. Adjust the radius so it's more than half. So I'm going to just a little bit bigger. Make sure it's more than half. Okay, draw an arc above and draw an arc below. Okay, so draw an arc below, above and an arc below. Go to point B, make it the same radius, do not change it at all. Go above and below, and these 2 points right here, one connected, will create the perpendicular bisector of the segment. Okay, so not just perpendicular bisector. Okay, so go ahead and practice that again, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is perpendicular through a point on the line. Okay, so first of all, we're going to just draw a line. So let me just draw a line here. It doesn't matter where it goes, if it's slanted at all. So let's just have a line here. Okay, so there's our line. All right, let's call it line K, I guess. And let's put point P somewhere on the line. I'm not putting it in the middle, it just can be anywhere on the line. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is place the compass on point P. Okay, use any radius that you want. So I'm going to put it on point P, but you're going to want to go on either side of P. So if you look at this, if I make it too long, then it would go off over here. Whoops, it would go off over here. So I don't want it too long. So I'm going to squeeze it together just a little bit. You just want a reference point right here. Okay, so I'm going to go like that. So you're giving yourself basically your A and your B in the last one. There. So now I've given myself a reference point. Okay. Now I'm going to call that A and B. I don't have to call it A and B, but I'm going to call it A and B because that seems to make it a little bit easier. That should be there. Okay. Now place the compass at point A and adjust the radius again. So now it's different than what you just did. So I'm going to make it more than half. So I don't want this to be right here. I want it to be more than half. And I'm going to go up here and make an arc. And then I'm going to do the same from point B, make an arc, and I just drew a perpendicular right now from this point to P. So that would be the perpendicular to that line. It doesn't bisect it, but it's perpendicular. Okay, so try that one. Make sure you do your 2 reference points first and call them A and B. Okay, let's try that one again. Like just do it on your notebook paper and try it again. Okay. So the next one is perpendicular through a point not on the line. So let's draw a line. So I'm going to make a line here. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Line K again, I guess. Line K, and I'm just going to put L or P up there. It doesn't matter what you do. Okay, so we're going to do a perpendicular through a point not on the line. So the first thing you want to do is place your compass on point L. And if you notice, oh my gosh, this doesn't even meet the line. Okay, so using any radius, draw arcs intersecting K, but you have to at least get to K, right? All right, so I'm going to draw 2 arcs intersecting K. So one on that side, don't lift it up, one on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to go through perpendicularly now. Now I'm going to actually so I'm going to make the radius more than 1/2 right here. It's more than 1/2, so I'm just going to go from right here. That's fine. And I'm going to do an arc down here. And I'm going to do the same arc from over here. And, I just made it. Sometimes I don't make my arcs long enough, but I just made it. So now when you draw a line from here to here, it's actually perpendicular. Okay, so you made your 2 reference points. And again, you could have called them A and B. And then I didn't even have to adjust my my length right here because it was more than halfway. Okay, so then I just did that, and there you go. Try that one again on your Nova paper. Okay, so start over and try that one again. Rewind the videos if you have to. Okay, next one we're doing is a line parallel to a given line through a given point. Okay, so we're going to draw a line. Okay, we're going to call it line K again. So line K. All right, so I'm going to put P right here. It's going to put P right there. So I'm going to draw a line parallel to this through that point. So it's going to be parallel to this through that point. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is draw a line through point P intersecting line L. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. So you're just going to draw a line. I'm just going to draw a line. It doesn't matter. It goes through P and it intersects L. Okay, so I'm just going to label that point. I don't know, I guess we could do A's and B's, but I'm going to just do an X this time. Okay, now I'm going to place the compass. I closed it up a little bit. I'm going to place my compass at point X right here. And I'm going to draw an arc like this, but I'm going to actually spin my paper like that. So I've got my arc like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, the same exact thing at P, and hopefully you see what I'm getting at. If I draw the same arc, it doesn't have to be the same length, but if I draw an arc right there, it's a little bit, like my line is a little bit too short, so I'm going to extend that line. I want it to be right. Okay, so my line should be a little longer. All right, so I have this arc here and this arc here. So what you do is you measure this arc. So I'm going to measure this arc. Mine's a little bit too far. So I'm going to measure from that little arc right there to right there. I just measured it. That's the length of that. So let me make sure. All right. So now if I go up here, so this is where the arc is at. So right here, if I go right here, I've got to switch my compass and I've got to put it right there. And if I make a mark right there, that's exactly the same length. So if you draw a line from here to here, you just created a parallel line. So I'm going to go from right there to my point P that I made earlier. And I have a parallel line. So this line is parallel to that line. Okay, so go ahead and try that one again. Just remember that you have to have the same measurement right here and right here. And it could be close to what you've already done, but make sure you measure it. Okay. Next one we're going to do is an angle bisector. So the first thing you need to do is just draw an angle. Okay, so I'm going to draw. Doesn't matter what angle you do. It really doesn't matter at all. Okay, so I just drew that angle right there. Okay, I'm going to call this ABC. So A, B, C. Okay, so place the compass on the vertex of the angle and draw an arc. So I'm just going to, it doesn't matter how big it is. So I'm going to put this on the vertex and I'm going to draw an arc right there. Okay. Now I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it X and Y since I already used A and B. So I'm going to call that X and Y right there and right there. Okay. Now place the compass at point X and draw an arc somewhere else. So I don't know. I'm just going to make it a little bit wider. I don't know. I don't want it too close to what I'm doing. So I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to draw an arc like that. And if I do the same arc that I just did from X, if I do it the same thing from Y, make sure it's right on Y, and you do that right there, that point that I just created bisects the angle. Watch. So from right there to right there, I just bisected the angle. So I created the angle bisector. How cool is that? Okay, so try that one again on your own. And now we're going to do congruent angles. So congruent angles, I'm going to create an angle. So it doesn't matter what size. I'm just doing acute because they're just a little bit easier to deal with. So remember, it doesn't matter what size. Okay, so there's my angle right there. And so I'm going to call that angle A. So now I'm going to start off, I'm going to draw a ray that just with an endpoint. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a ray right now. I'm going to draw a ray. Okay, and I'm just going to call it, I don't know, let's just call it B. Okay, so we're going to call that endpoint B, this endpoint A. All right, so I'm going to measure from right here. I'm just going to do an arc. On A, I'm going to do an arc. Okay, and I'm going to call it, whoops, I slid a little bit. So put that back. Oh my gosh, I keep sliding. See, it happens to all of us. So I'm going to go like this. I just want to make sure I have that point perfect. Okay, so I'm going to call this point C, D right there. Okay, so I have this arc already made. So now I'm going to make this same arc from B. Okay, now make it big enough. Make sure it doesn't slide. Okay, so I made it from B. Now all you have to do is measure this right here. So let's measure this. So let's squeeze it together until I've got it. And then I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to make a little mark right there. And that's the point you need to go to from here to create the exact same angle. So I'm going to go like this. And there you go. Whoops, I'm poking myself. There we go. Okay, so this measure right here should be equal to this measure right here. I'll measure it and I'll prove it to you guys. Let's see. It should be at least close. So it looks like 34, 35. This one looks like, yep, 34, 35. Okay, so that's congruent angles. So practice that one again, and you should be set with your constructions.